And how's it? Today, we're talking about some great reasons to refresh your LinkedIn profile so that you can land your next opportunity as an expert. So, more on that in a minute. How was your weekend? I had a fantabulous, I don't know if that's a word, week traveling for the first time since moving to Oahu in early 2019. So we took the entire roster tribe. So that would be me, my partner Jason, my two kids, ages 6 and 8. And we went to a live event called Business by Design Next Level. It was in Orange County, California. So definitely one of the most impactful and fun, let's say, business type events I've ever attended. And I felt there was this sense of kinship, I feel like, with my fellow entrepreneurs and digital CEOs. So it was really, really fun to make a number of in real life connections with people that I've been seeing on Zoom calls for the past 9 months inside the BBD program. So if you get a chance to do something in real life this year, I totally recommend that you go for it. After all of this time being isolated on an island, quite literally, it felt really invigorating to get some face time with some peers, with colleagues. And of course, James Wedmore is a great speaker and host. So he is incredibly amazing in real life, just as he is online. So if you're a digital CEO and you're like, looking for someone new to follow, James is awesome. So if you want the full details, you can check out my podcast episode. Yes, I have a podcast on the Mango Effect podcast. It went live today. So it's the most recent episode, episode 10. It's called Create Your Business by Design. So I share all the details of that business event and also some of my takeaways and lessons learned. And in case you missed it, again, podcast alert, my podcast launched today with 10 episodes, like 10, like the number 10. If you're a binge listener like me, you are in for a treat. You can spend a full afternoon with me listening to these episodes, ranging from, let's see, what my sleep schedule looks like and why, to how we build influence, to the story behind this dancing monkey. I'm going to show you the dancing monkey. So if you listen to that episode, you will know this is the dancing monkey on my desk, to my relationship status and orientation exploration, and more. So I talk a lot about various topics related to entrepreneurship, health and fitness, living in Hawaii, surfing. You'll get to hear a lot about me. So go ahead and subscribe because I will be dropping a new episode every single Monday. Can you tell I love Mondays? I love Mondays. And now it is time for Mondays with Mindy. It is a weekly show on Monday afternoons if you're based in the US, where I talk about all things LinkedIn pipeline, promo, and profiles, what I like to call the 3 Ps of LinkedIn. So, do you have questions about LinkedIn that you want me to answer? Be sure to like this post, whether you're watching live or from the replay. Leave your questions below. I really do listen just about all of the topics. I have planned topics for the next 12 weeks. Almost every single topic is related to a question that somebody has asked, a comment, somebody has recommended that I touch on a certain topic because it would be helpful. So I listen. I listen with both ears wide open, and I love to answer your questions and be of help. So leave your questions, comments. If you have a topic suggestion, I will cover it on a future episode of Mondays with Mindy, most likely. All right, so let's get to today's topic. What are some really great reasons to refresh your LinkedIn profile? How often should you review and refresh your profile? Does it really matter how updated your LinkedIn profile is? So, last week we talked about the power of LinkedIn groups, really with the intention to build connection, which leads us back to our profiles today, because we really do have to have a great profile before we start or participate in groups effectively. So if you have heard me talk about LinkedIn at all in the past, if you're a part of my world in any way, shape, or form, you've probably heard me say something along the lines of, it all starts with your LinkedIn profile. And that is so true. Now, many people try to jump into LinkedIn from a number of different angles because that's how it works on other social channels. They're just not effective unless you're posting copious amounts of really entertaining content. All right. So think of Instagram, TikTok. You do have to post content. Your bio is not going to get anybody to follow you. People are not going to reach out to you because you have a great looking photo or a good bio. But not many people actually take the time to look through your profile first before they come across your profile. Okay. So you're thinking Instagram, most people are discovering you because they saw an entertaining reel. Maybe somebody recommended they check out your profile. Maybe you met them in real life. The exact opposite is true on LinkedIn. People aren't just kind of happening onto your profile. Most people will Google search you or they get a referral from a friend and then they intentionally, so they are typing in your name, they look for you on LinkedIn and look up your profile before they ever see a piece of your LinkedIn content. So your LinkedIn headline, your profile picture, and your header area make up their very first impression of you. So your profile is the first thing they see. It's not some entertaining post. It's not something that they're discovering you on LinkedIn content. You're probably not a LinkedIn influencer at this point. They are looking at your profile for the first time. So the funny thing is that many of these people that are coming to your profile could care less about the content that you posted on LinkedIn until they scan through your LinkedIn profile to determine if your content is something they're even interested in. So your profile is the very first place they are seeing you. The very first impression, it's your profile, it's not your content. So think about that for a moment. Have you been spending a lot of time trying to send connection invitations, create content for LinkedIn, research your ideal prospects there, but you have not optimized your LinkedIn profile yet? Okay. If that's you, don't be ashamed. It's okay. We're in a safe place here. But the experts who get the most out of LinkedIn are usually not the chatty ones. So, those ones who appear to be really popular because their posts get a ton of reactions, whether they are the ones with the best looking profile that attracts the attention of their intended audience. So, it's really the people who pay attention to their profile that get attention and that get the right type of attention from the right people. You will never see the boatloads of connection invitations and messages that these people receive, like the experts who are using LinkedIn to actually grow their business. Most of the time, you cannot tell from the outside. You cannot look at their profile and go, oh, yeah, I see all of this new business you're getting from LinkedIn. Because followers and attention and likes and reactions don't necessarily translate to new business. So it's really hard to tell which types of experts are actually making money from LinkedIn because it's not obvious. And so then because it's not obvious, a lot of times we look at people's profiles and we wonder, okay, so what am I actually, how do I actually make money on LinkedIn if it's not followers, if it's not likes, if it's not reactions? How do I figure out what to do? So that's why the profile is critical because it is where you're going to start attracting the right people. And these things all happen behind closed doors. Most people are not going to see all the connection invitations you're receiving. They may see that you have a high number of connections, but they don't know if those are actually valuable connections to you. So let's be honest, the LinkedIn game is not really about becoming an influencer here. It's about building a network. And we're going to talk about some great reasons to update your profile, when a refresh makes sense, and what you can do to make the most of your refresh if you are on LinkedIn to attract more opportunities or you're here to deepen your professional relationships. All right, so aloha. For those who don't know me, my name is Mindy Rosser. I'm the founder of Mindy Rosser Marketing, and I have a group program called the LinkedIn Accelerator for those who want to go from a 0 to 60 on LinkedIn with their profile and their network. The next cohort, oh, drum roll here, is opening for enrollment next week. I can't believe it. Next week. So get on the wait list if you want to be the first notified when the doors open next Monday. I am really, really excited about this next cohort. I will pop it on the screen so you can take a screenshot, come back to it later. I will also put it into the chat so you can just cop over to that hyperlink. The doors are opening Monday. I already have a number of people that are eager to get into this next cohort, so I hope you are one of them. I help professionals who are the best kept secret in their industry to become that go-to visible expert in their niche so they can get that next opportunity, grow their business, and scale their impact using LinkedIn. In this live, we are going to talk about how neglecting to refresh your LinkedIn profile can actually cause you to lose credibility really quickly on LinkedIn. And how can you determine when you should do a refresh so that you can get more clients and business opportunities this year? That's what we all want. Are you ready? Let's do this. Go ahead and like this post, whether you are live or watching from the replay, to give it some social love. All right, so I recently reread a book, and it is called The Power of When by Dr. Michael Bruce. Just start typing it in. Don't worry about how to spell his name. You'll see it. The power of when. If you check out my podcast about sleep chronotypes, shameless plug again for the Mango Effect podcast, you can hear me talk more about it if you're curious about sleep chronotypes. I know, random, right? Plus, you'll get to find out what my chronotype is if you're curious. I literally have been asking everyone to tell me their sleep chronotype already. So be prepared. If you respond to anything related to my sleep chronotype post and you want to share yours, I'm going to ask, what's your chronotype? So, anyhow, there's something especially powerful about asking the when question, because that implies there's a reason behind the timing of the update. So, whether it's sleep, whether it's LinkedIn, knowing when to do something matters a lot. So, recently, one of my fellow virtual surfer friends who lived on Oahu for many years reached out to ask me about his LinkedIn profile. And if when was a good time to work on his headline. So he made a job change in the past year and was just a little bit unsure what to do with his profile. So let's actually take a look at his profile and let's determine if now is a good time for him to refresh his profile. So here we are. This is John Dubach's profile. And as we were looking at the top, he said, Mindy, I would love some feedback on my headline. I think now is a good time to refresh my profile. Is it? And so looking here, we see that with his headline, with his profile, he is telling us his position, his title, and his company. The first thing that I see that I think about when I see this headline is that definitely we need to do some work here. It's great that he's made this shift. As you can see with his job history, this was back in June of 2021. But there is some work that does need to be done. And so I think thinking through the headline, if you've heard me talk about headlines before, you probably know what advice I'm going to give to John. But basically, there are four things that we want to have in this headline. That is who you are. So that would be the growth manager part. Who you help. So that would be the target audience. How you help them, number three. And then the results that you generate. So these four things need to go into John's profile. And do you think if we had to say, when is the right time, John, to update your profile, we would say now, right? Because he has recently made a job change. And yes, that change was about a year ago, but some things need to happen on his profile to really bring it up to speed so he can connect with his new target audience. So that's an example of when it is really important to focus on the profile. I'm going to talk about a couple other reasons when you should update your profile. But the mistake that a lot of people make when it comes to when they should update their profile is they only think it's necessary when they are actively job seeking, looking to get board opportunities, trying to prospect. Those are all great times to update your profile, but they are not the only reasons to update your profile. There are a number of really good reasons to update your profile. If you're an expert who wants to always be attracting the right opportunities and building new relationships using LinkedIn, there's really no better time to update your profile. Then what do you think I'm going to say? Then now, of course. Like, of course, now is the time. So if you're watching this, you've probably been thinking about your LinkedIn profile for a while. So if it's been more than 6 months since you really looked at your profile, you're probably already overdue. On LinkedIn, we expect that other professionals keep their LinkedIn profiles up to date. Whenever there's a significant professional accomplishment or a change, it's kind of one of the unwritten rules of the platform. So just be aware, if you are new to LinkedIn, people expect your LinkedIn profile to be up to date. They expect that they can trust what is on your profile. That is the first step to building trust on LinkedIn. So I want you to change your thinking about when to update your profile. It's not only during a critical time when you are scrambling to get it done, it's any time that you make a noteworthy change or a shift. So the first thing you update is your LinkedIn profile every time. So every time that you make a change in your business, in your career, you make a pivot, you do something cool that you should add, you want to make sure that you update your LinkedIn profile. So, as we talked about earlier, your LinkedIn profile sets the stage for everything that is to come in your professional interaction with a potential new connection with a hiring manager, with a board member, or a peer in the space. It is literally the first thing people see. So, paying attention to the details on your LinkedIn profile matters more than you might realize. So think about the last time that you came across somebody via word of mouth. Maybe you heard them on a podcast. Maybe they were mentioned online by an influencer that you trust. When you look them up, you expect to find an updated profile where All of their current information is updated, it matches across channels, it feels like they paid attention to the details. Now, if you look that same person up and find an outdated website, maybe you come across a broken link, or maybe you see they haven't updated their job history since that day job a few years ago. What is going to happen to your trust? Immediately it's going to come into question. You're going to question whether they are a reliable person, whether you can trust them, whether they actually pay attention, whether they care. So, whether you are conscious of this process that's happening in your brain or not, you already begin asking questions like, are they to be trusted? Why don't they pay attention to their personal brand? Are they just outsourcing everything? Is this person real and legitimate? If they don't pay attention to the importance of their brand, are they also not paying attention to their clients or customers? So, first impressions matter. No matter how many times we try to give people that second chance, that first impression is really, really difficult to dismantle. Research actually shows that a first impression can happen anywhere from 1/10 of a second, literally 1/10 of a second. That's not even a full second, up to 7 seconds. And I've seen some pieces of research that said maybe you'll get as much time as 27 seconds. So I guess it's somewhere between 1/10 of a second to 27 seconds. That's a lot of time. And that's not very long in the big scheme of things, is it? So it's your job as an expert to make that initial impression count. Experts on LinkedIn know that this impression can either make or break their success on the channel, and they pay very, very close attention to all the details that comprise that impression. And the truth is, it doesn't take a ton of work to maintain a good looking profile once you've done the work up front. So now that you know your profile needs to be awesome, that it's important to determine when you're going to update it, and the goal is to make a good impression, now we can talk about three great reasons to update your profile. All right, so reason number one, this one is pretty obvious because this is why most people come to me with profile updates. So basically, when you are pivoting in your career or business, it's really, really important. So, when to update your profile is very personal to you and where you are in your career or business as an expert. Many of you have already transitioned and know where you're headed next. And so these reasons we're going to talk about today to refresh your profile will resonate. Now, I have a caveat here. If you are still unclear about your next step with your business or your career, you actually will want to wait to refresh your LinkedIn profile until you get clear on your niche. So you're saying, wait, Mindy, what? You're a LinkedIn expert and you're telling me not to refresh my profile yet. Yes, I am. I am. So if you're still unclear on your niche and you really want to figure that out first, that is really important. So if you are in that in between phase, maybe you're kind of thinking of a few ideas, but you're not exactly sure which one you want to go with. I would highly recommend checking out. I'm going to mention it here. I will put a link to it in the comments. If you're in that in between place, there is a guide that I have come across called Nail Your Niche. It's by James Wedmore. I mentioned him earlier today, the Business by Design program. He has a guide that is excellent, and he's my business coach and mentor. And it is really, really helpful for those of you who need a clear understanding of where you're going before you update your profile. So I'll put that link in the notes here, and you can check that out after. But for those of you who are like, Mindy, I already know my niche. Fantastic. Good. Now you're ready to learn about some great reasons to update your profile. So let's dive right in. So as I was mentioning, if you are in a pivot, if you are pivoting your career or business and you know where you're headed, that's the key. You know where you're headed. If you've recently switched careers or have already decided the direction you are making that shift, this is one of the best times to update your profile. Why? You are eager about your new direction and you have clarity on how you want to use LinkedIn. So you have a lot of momentum. When we are in that pivoting phase, when we're excited, when we are inspired, where we know where we're headed, you want to channel all of that passion and all of that momentum into your LinkedIn profile. So your existing connections will know what you're doing next and they can celebrate your new direction with you. And then all of those new connections you are going to add will know exactly what you stand for. So you may also have done a lot of inner work. You've maybe done some business or career coaching, maybe some personal branding work. Maybe you've done a lot of marketing persona exercises that will help you to refresh your LinkedIn profile easily. So that's why I say if you're in that pivot phase and you've made a decision to shift, you know the types of people you want to reach out to, you know where you're headed, this is a perfect time. So don't wait to update your profile. Like as part of that rebranding process, if you're updating your website, if you are working on proposals, if you're putting together new programs, this is a great time to just extend all of that energy into a LinkedIn profile refresh. So you want to get on it with those fresh eyes, take advantage of your inspiration in the moment. So I have an example here. I worked with a man named Mark inside of the latest cohort of the LinkedIn Accelerator program, and he is working on writing a book. Starting the next chapter of his business. He's kind of like moving from one direction in his business to the next chapter. And so for him, it was really, really powerful to go through this exercise because he had so many fresh ideas. So he knew what to put, he knew what the name of his company was, he knows what his target audience is moving forward. He's looking at all of these LinkedIn tools that he can use to get the word out about his book. And so, with all of that energy, he was able to refresh his LinkedIn profile and really get it ready for the big time, now as he is getting ready to launch. So it tied very well into his new process and his new business direction. So it's an example of somebody who is taking what they're doing elsewhere and just kind of using LinkedIn as another way to express all of that hard work that you're doing in pivoting your business. So it's a lot easier to do it when you are in the mindset of pivoting and starting something new. So use that energy and turn it into a great LinkedIn profile. All right, so here's another good reason. Maybe it's been a while. Let's not call it this. This is that it's been a while, or you're new to LinkedIn. So you're either it's like I've been on LinkedIn for a while, I haven't really looked at my profile, or you are brand spanking new. So maybe you've been on LinkedIn for eons and it's just time for a fresh start. So you haven't done much with your LinkedIn profile in that time since you left that day job or you focused on other social media channels. You're thinking, my people are actually not over there, they're here. So I should probably figure out this whole LinkedIn thing. So you're planning to just update it to ensure your brand looks great across all online platforms. And maybe you're like, I'm not exactly sure I want to use LinkedIn more. I just really want my profile to look good. And then I'll figure out if I want to go, hard and heavy on the marketing and sales aspect of LinkedIn or just have a good profile. So you may not actually use it aggressively to get new leads or opportunities, but it's like, hey, it's been a while. I should probably do this thing. So some people want to have this channel updated and open just in case. I call it like the just in case something interesting comes along because you never know. And if your profile is up to date, even if you are not like crazy active on LinkedIn, people are going to feel that they can reach out to you and you will probably receive some inbound connection invitations and opportunities, especially if your people are on LinkedIn and your profile is aligned with them. Excuse me one second. So you might also be brand new to LinkedIn and have no idea where to start. Let me take a drink. This is a really good time to spend those initial getting to know LinkedIn moments before you start trying to grow your network, attract new business, or put yourself out there with content. So, if you are new to LinkedIn, this is a fantastic time to work on your profile. So, an example of this is Danny. So, Danny came to one of my workshops earlier this year. And she said, Mindy, I haven't been on LinkedIn. I know I need to get on LinkedIn. I said, okay, just come to the workshop. Let's talk about it. She's been following me for a while, but just very hesitant to get onto LinkedIn. After the workshop, literally the next day, sends me a message, Mindy, I spent the whole day setting up my LinkedIn profile and I'm so proud. She's like, I actually did it. It was really hard, but I did it. And that was so powerful. And yesterday I logged onto LinkedIn and she's been doing great. Like she's been posting, she's been active. And I saw she was doing a LinkedIn event. And I'm like, oh my gosh, go Danny. That's amazing. So I think that confidence that comes with getting a LinkedIn profile up there, making sure it looks good enough, you are going to be able to feel empowered to start taking action on LinkedIn and trying things. And it is so much more fun once you understand how it works. And it all starts with that LinkedIn profile. All right. And the third good reason to start and refresh your LinkedIn profile is if you're on LinkedIn, like many B2B experts I know, then you are here with the intention to get more leads and start professional relationships that lead to business opportunities and collaborations for you. So before you start actively trying to grow your network or reach out to prospects, obviously, I feel like it's obvious, but it is critical that your profile matches your outreach messaging. So I've seen a lot of, I would call them eager LinkedIners, start connecting prematurely, and it can actually backfire on you if your profile is out of sync with your messaging. So it's really, really important that before you do start reaching out with the intention to get more leads, to get into business conversations, to collaborate with people, that your profile is in alignment with that messaging. So look at your messaging, look at your profile. If people read your messaging and then checked out your profile, does it match? Because if it doesn't match, then you definitely need to refresh your profile. So expect people to want to check out your profile before they connect with you or respond to your any LinkedIn DMs that you are sending. It should be in complete alignment with your messaging. So everything has to match. Remember, this is critical to building trust, to getting rapport, to really establishing our positions as thought leaders in our spaces. So, an example, Maria, she was in my first cohort of the LinkedIn Accelerator. And before she hopped in, she had very few connections. I think she had like 100 or right around 100 connections. So her first goal was to get her profile looking good and then start reaching out to grow her network to hit that 500 plus mark. And I remember when she hit it because she told me, she's like, Mindy, I just hit it. And it was right before she hit that 500 plus mark where she said, I'm starting to get momentum. And she had her first call with a potential prospect and a high level prospect at a very, very famous company. And the impact that that had on her confidence in how she was willing to invest in LinkedIn and how she actually solidified all of that time that was spent in working on her profile definitely came to fruition in that moment when she hit those 500 plus connections and had that first call with a potential prospect. It takes work, it takes upfront work, but it really pays off in the end, especially if your people are on LinkedIn or you have a sense that they are going to search for you on the Google and find your LinkedIn profile. Having your profile dialed in is critical. All right, so let's recap what you need to get clear on when it comes to refreshing your LinkedIn profile. So again, we talked about the importance of when. When should you update your LinkedIn profile? Why does it matter? Because it is so important that we make a really great first impression. And then how do we do that? We have to do it within that 1/10 of a second to 27 seconds, somewhere in there. We have to make a really great first impression. And so when should we update our profile? When we are pivoting our career in business, we're in that transition, or if it's been a while and we're brand spanking new to LinkedIn and we just aren't sure where to start, or we are looking to increase the number of connections that we have or get more leads on LinkedIn. So those are three reasons. I could list a lot more, but those are three of the main reasons that people will refresh their profile and when you are going to get the most bang for your buck. So what additional questions do you have about LinkedIn profile refreshes? Leave your comments below or shoot me a private message. I am happy to answer them. And for those of you who are like, Mindy, this sounds really good. Like, now is the time I am ready to refresh my LinkedIn profile. That is awesome because next week I am doing a masterclass. So get on the wait list. You will also get to find out about the next cohort of the LinkedIn Accelerator. I'm doing a masterclass next week on the 5 changes you should make to your LinkedIn profile that will actually help you start landing more opportunities. So get on the wait list. You'll get an invite to come to that masterclass and also find out more details about the next cohort of the LinkedIn Accelerator. The doors open next Monday. I'm super, super excited about this next cohort. It's going to be awesome. We have made some, I would say, some new and improved changes to the structure of the program. So you will get more value out of it and also get more of that personal touch with me working hand in hand with you to optimize your profile. So I will see you next week on Mondays with Mindy. Feel free to leave questions or comments below, and my inbox is always open if you want to message me directly. I will see you then. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Bye for now.